30 stories before the year 3000. My name is Bubego Noila, and today we are joined by a very successful businessman, Dr. Thabo Pitse. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
How
Can I
are
call you
you?
Keiko?
You can call me Keiko. It's also
All
my
right.
other name.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
good.
also known as Keiko, and you're also known as TP.
Yes.
Why the name TP?
Just like Keiko, No, TP, it's
Because people can't
basically,
pronounce your name.
okay,
'Cause that's the
Thabo
reason.
Pitse. Yes, for me too, because I travel a lot. When I go to countries like England, then they start calling my name Thabo. They can't say Thabo, or if they say Thabo, then they put the A before the H. That's the only time it qualifies as Thabo. So I thought, nah, you know what, it's cool.
Yeah.
think-
And
yeah.
you actually won 3 awards at the Business Excellence Awards, I think in 2017.
Yes.
And you won 3 categories. Do you then think that sets you apart from other black businesses, as we know that you were literally the only black owned business that won awards? Does that set you apart?
Well, no, most definitely. It was the National Awards, Business Awards in South Africa, held in Empress Palace. And obviously, everyone who entered, they had to go through due diligence. If you enter for this, then they come and check. If it's about your company, they check all the processes, everything, the finances and all that. So the due diligence was done very well. That's the first thing. And secondly, it's private awards. And it was for everyone, no exclusion, not color, not anything. It was truly based on competency. So that set me apart, and I'm very proud of that, because I was able, I'm saying, if you want to be the best, you must compete with the best. And in all 9 provinces of South Africa, even in my category, for example, the Empowerment Award, I remember with 3 companies. And obviously I was the only black company in the final now.
Oh, wow.
So I beat I remember the other company from Port Elizabeth. It was a big engineering company which has been there for a while, and for me to actually emerge as the winner with such people, I felt like, I measured myself well against people who knew what they were doing.
Okay, so you're the winner of 3 awards at the Business Excellence Awards, and you were literally the only black company that won. Do you think that sets you apart from other businesses? And would you say for you as a black person, that sets something for you to actually win?
No, true that. Look, in South Africa today, people write on I'm black, I'm BEE, and not just that. If you go to I would say your government awards, it's normally like if you find an entrepreneur of the year, it's somebody who doesn't even have a business, has a turnover or
That's
profitability.
That's
So to me, that is it's like honorary awards. They don't really measure, and the very important word is to measure the true competency and true achievement of a person. So I hate losing. First of all, I don't just enter awards, but I've entered these ones, the National Business Excellence Awards, and I must say that why I'm proud of this one, I felt like I competed with the best. Like, for example, in my category, I remember the Empowerment Award that I got, the companies that came after me, or the one that I beat from PE, first of all, that guy is like double my age, and they've been in business for so long. They've been, they're a big engineering company for that matter. So, yeah, I felt my competency was really measured, truly. Even the due diligence that is done for the awards, it's not just awarding people and saying, you know what, you black, you know. For me, it was really about competency, and it was measurable. We could measure why I won. It was said that based on this and this and this, if it's turnover, they would announce your turnover. You made 20 million this year, that's why you won. And it's there on your statement. It's not far-fetched. So, yeah, definitely. So I felt it set me apart. Yeah.
Why or how did you become the CEO of Sage? That's the one question I've been meaning to ask you all my life.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we know that Sage is connected with California University.
Yes.
And I know that you also have a history, or you started,
Yes,
studied
yes.
there. So how did you become the CEO of Sage?
Okay, so I've got passion in, developing people. That's why one of my big businesses is actually Entrepreneurship Academy, where we develop young people, we develop SMEs. At this one, I was actually called in to come and judge at the university for the provincial competition, and then I was then sent to go judge in the national competition. And when we came back there, the winning team was from the Free State, and the guy who was actually the people who were the leadership of Sage then, You know, it's white people who immediately started saying, but these guys must go, you must find them sponsors, but now people don't want to open the doors for us because we're white. And immediately I said, you know what? There's something called excusiitis. I don't take excuses anyway. So I took it upon me, then I raised the money for the team to go and those guys to go. We went to Russia, where I was also deployed to go and judge in the international competition. So when we came back as well, and I started helping as an advisor basically, and then I ended up, I can't even remember how, I saw the opportunity to go study in California. It was very expensive and I invested a lot of money and I went to study. So after I studied, then they actually approached me and appointed me as their consultant to run the program here in South Africa. And then I did that, I think successfully. So for the past 4 years, I've grown the program from 1 or 2 provinces, scaled it in all the 9 provinces. It's got its sponsor, it's got partners. All 9 provinces basically are covered where that is concerned, to a point where the beginning of 2019, they came back with an offer to me and said, can you now become the CEO for Africa, lead the whole Africa. So I've got 20 countries under me, yes. So I'm leading the whole Africa now. Yeah.
That's great news.
Yes.
And since you mentioned you have a business which deals with entrepreneurships, we basically want to know, since you define yourself as a serial entrepreneur, what other things do you do? I know you do events, property, music. What does your company actually do?
All right. We're in few sectors. I actually started at one point, I had 12 businesses, but I scaled them down. You know, the older you grow, the more focused you become, and you realize that you don't chase too many things. You only want quality things. You want to do less, but get more out of it. So now I'm down to, I think my main businesses are in education now. Okay. Yes, where I would say we've got a private business academy, partnership with universities, one of California State University in the US, and then University of the Free State here as well. So what we are doing is exactly what the business is supposed to do. We don't sell things to people, we solve problems in the society. And the problem of inequality, the problem of people who are not illiteracy, you know, which leads to all the poverty that we have, the problem of unemployment. So we focus actually in entrepreneurship development, but at a high level, not just like anybody. For example, in our program, we train entrepreneurs using the university curriculum, which is the highest level of education you can get. Yes. So we train them using that, and these are the people, it's not like a normal student, you know, you have to apply, have so many points. They're entrepreneurs, so we created a rubric that will qualify them to get in there. So we give them a chance, even those who never get a chance to come to the university.
So you prepare for those that don't get opportunities?
Yes. Okay, so we make sure. So we've opened the door for access of education for people who never actually have it at that level.
And I think for people watching, they're wondering why the doctor, Dr. Thabo Pitse, and I think most will relate because you find people who study something and then when they go out, they find out it's not in line with their purpose or what they want to do. Can you please give us a background on that one? What you've done, you studied medicine, entrepreneurship, what happened?
Okay, that's a funny one, but the story remains the same where this is concerned. I always tell people, no man, it's like Dr. Kumalo, I was playing soccer, you know, so they refer to me as, yeah. But no, where that is concerned, okay, my studying background, my first degree, obviously I did medicine, but now how I explain it, I always say, you know what, that was like my first love, my first girlfriend, which later on, I mean, I actually realized that, yeah, I dumped basically, you know. After all the years of studying, I mean, I've worked, I remember even during the holidays, even from my second year, I started working like Sasol Mine Hospital. I did procedures even while I was still a student that students were not doing. I even went to do my elective in England, in London. So actually, I think I studied a lot and I did so much within the field to know that this is not for me. I wanted to help people, but when I realized it's so small, I wanted to go big, man. I wanted to impact the world and do more, not just people who walk into my practice. So because of that, I realized, okay, the mindset was right to help people, but there's more to it than just that. And my childhood dream, obviously, I mean, when I was a child, I dreamt of myself sitting in the boardroom. I saw myself having people working for me, you know, clinching deals. And that's exactly where the business gene came, yes. So, and even the helicopters, when they were passing, I saw myself in there. Even I didn't know how it looked like inside. So I guess, yeah, that's how the vision came about. And that's what literally gave me, that's what gave me life,
Take a risk.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So-
then with the current state of South Africa, with unemployment, how do you think it then represents or influence unemployment, entrepreneurship? How does it influence unemployment?
Entrepreneurship is it's a solution, right? And the way I explain it when I do masterclass, I tell people solution versus problems equals to P or I, which is for profit or impact. So we use entrepreneurship to solve people's problems. So basically, entrepreneurship is like I said, it's the solution. So there are problems in the society, a whole lot of them. So we solve them through entrepreneurship, and with the principles of entrepreneurship, the systems, everything that entrepreneurship stands for is to literally solve people's problems. So I don't know anything better that can solve problems in the society. When these problems are sorted, it improves the quality of the people, the quality of the economy, the quality of life, everything. So we need entrepreneurship as a solution to solve the problems.
Okay, and with the Free State, a lot of people are like, I wouldn't want to go to that province because that province there's nothing much going on. So would you think, or would you say that it's a place or a market for people to invest in?
You see, every place it is actually, and places with the most problems like the Free State. If you look at it, Free
Okay,
State.
so the problem determine whether or not it's a good place.
Exactly. So the more the problems, the more the opportunity for entrepreneurship to emerge. So Free State, it's second last province that contributes towards the economy. So it's actually a poor province. There's a word they use, it's called a nodal province, which means it's got even lesser opportunities. So obviously investors, if there are less opportunities, if they put in their money, are they going to get it back? Now recently there's also a report that came out, of the economic landscape of Free State to show exactly the opportunities that are there, investment opportunities in the Free State that actually need money. If you put in money and then you can grow something, you have sorted that problem, and all of a sudden there's something that can come out of it, grow the economy, create more jobs, and people can start flooding into the Free State. So if I have to answer that question in short, I would say, there are a lot of problems here, and that is an opportunity for entrepreneurship. And I think a lot of investors see it and they can do that. Just to make an example, I left the Free State after I worked here. I left and I went to Joburg, right? Place of gold. Nah, that was a lie. So when I was there seeking for opportunities, I actually realized that, the gold is where I left it. That's why I came back to the Free State. And I have said this, and I can say it proudly, this is where I made my first million when I was in the Free State, This is where I became the businessman that I am. This is where I've been living. This is where I've been making the money. I could travel the world and do all these things.
Money, can we talk do you have a net worth?
Net worth.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, when people Google me, I see when you write my name, it's like the next is net worth, and I'm thinking,
I saw that.
come on, you know what? Even my good friend Vuzi Tembekwa, when they ask him about his net worth, he says, no, I'm not going to answer that one. So,
Okay, so
No, definitely. I think, everyone has got a net worth, so yeah.
Okay, so Thabo Pitse, we know that you grew up being the only guy. Your mom was a domestic worker. You had to pay for your own application fee to university by washing your teacher's cars. So we want to know, how did the journey start and how did you grow up?
All right. Born and bred in Kroonstad, rightfully so. Yes, my mom was a domestic worker, but a very intelligent one.
Yes.
Had two sisters, and the funny part is that I think most of actually up until matric, we used to live, is it in the back room of, where my mom used to work. So you can imagine this back room, one room, and I'm staying there with the ladies, and then you even get to your teenage stage, and then where you don't want people around you and they're still there. So that was the situation. But the one thing that my mom, I think, did right was that she's very strong mentally. As a domestic worker she was. So she taught us a whole lot of, we had to pray, we had to, a whole lot of manners, and she was very strict on us. So we focused more on things, I think, that, I didn't see that as a disadvantage. So it was fine, man. There was praying, there's a whole lot of memories that we made that money couldn't buy at the time. So that's how I grew up, and we stayed there. And when I was 12, I remember I went to work next door the whole December, washing dishes, doing laundry, in the bath, I had to get in there, sometimes use my hands for the white neighbors. And my first salary was actually 2 plastic bags full of clothes.
Yeah, so you mentioned that was your first.
Exactly, that was my first salary, and I was 12 years old. So from that moment on, then to me, I mean, I became used to. I was looking for opportunities. Like even when it's holidays, I wanted to go work and make something. So it started there to a point where, I mean, even when I was matric, I remember after I matriculated, I was working for APSA, I was working for clothing shop. So I always did that. I mean, to make extra money. But then also just before I went, I think the story that you mentioned, just before I went to varsity, I remember I had to apply. I needed 80 rand. My mother was earning 200 rand. Actually, I think it was 150 at the time. So I made a plan and I just went to my teacher and I said, you know what, can I wash your car? I mean, 4 Fridays in a month, 4 times, and you pay me 20 rand and then you just pay for this application. So that's when I actually learned. So every time I went, I wanted something, I had something to offer. And the only thing I could offer at this time was my services. So I would look at, what do you need? Then I'll offer you a solution, you give me the money. So that's where it started. And I think
always understood that it's a transaction, everything in life.
Exactly. But you solve my problem, give me the solution, I'll give you a solution to yours. And then you solve mine, I solve yours, and then but you give me the money and then I'll give you the service. So I guess that's how also the business or the entrepreneurship gene in me. Yeah.
And then you, as a businessman, I'm pretty sure you faced a lot of challenges. And you've mentioned that because of what you value, what has shaped you. So we've mentioned the awards that you got at the Business Excellence Award. Are there any other awards that you won?
Yes. First of all, when I was in school, I think I won a whole lot of awards. When I got to varsity, but okay, now in my adult life, where it's truly measurable, well, I've won awards nationally, and then let me just come back in the province as well.
Province, national, international.
Yes, in the province, so to say, I was actually given it was last year, at my, I would say, tiny age of 35, I got a lifetime award from the Free State Chamber. Is the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Free State.
There?
Yes, I started it actually. I'm the founding chairperson of the whole thing. So later on, then they called me back, I think 5-6 years later, I can't remember how many years or 7 years later, to give me a Lifetime Achievement Award, which I thought I didn't deserve, but I'm very chuffed that I got it, But awards also, I mean, that I think, well, I've got international awards as well. Trading globally, participating globally in business. I think it's countries like, I remember, Philippines, Ukraine, South Africa here. Okay, we've mentioned that. Even now, this year in August, as the African CEO, a CEO award-winning CEO, as the Africa CEO, my first year. So we won 2 awards. So I'm quite proud through one of my countries, Nigeria. So not this year, but last year we won in 2017, I think, in Ukraine, won awards there as well, won awards in Philippines. So I think to have international accolades, and this was also afforded me to be in a position where I could even do my world tour, get invites from other countries so I can go and speak and people listen to me.
You're also judges in international.
Exactly. Where business is concerned, I'm one of the people who has been seen fit to go and give my opinion or share my expertise with, above the fact that I've also studied in California State University in Chico in the US as well. So
Yeah, and I think we'd want to know more about your business ventures and things that you would want to do, so your plans.
Look, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I'm a serial entrepreneur. Basically, I master 2 things, which are people and systems. So any problem that I come across, I can develop solutions and then get people and systems. Like if you think of Alibaba, right? The billionaire from China, he ventured into ICT, but he didn't know anything about IT. So that's the nice part about being an entrepreneur, understanding the principle of solution and problem. So, and you get people who know what they do, but they could not do it themselves. Then they start doing it for you, and you create systems that will make that happen. That's all you manage as an entrepreneur, those 2. So you can have as many ventures. At one point, like I said, I had 12 companies, but I've been scaling them down because now I'm growing a bit older, although I'm still young. I've got a family. I want to raise my kids. I want to have impact in them. not just that, you have quality life, quality time, do things that I want to do. So having a system of people and systems working for you affords me to have that time, even though I work very hard to see to that it's happening. So in terms of business ventures, I've had like, you start from farming, game farm, I've had, like I said, my favorite one is obviously education. Remember I spoke about knowledge and skills, so I've got that one. But what I try to do, or what I'm doing, is that I build best solutions wherever I am. Like now with the entrepreneurship academy that we have, we train entrepreneurs, we literally use university curriculum. What comes above the university? Nothing else. So in my ventures, basically I come up with the highest solutions that give the best value, so that the problems you solve them the best. I want to be the best in everything that I do, so yeah.
And any partners that we know of that you've worked with, collaborated with in terms of companies?
Well, that's very important, yes. We've got corporate partners now. Companies like your MTN, they've been my clients for the past 6 years. Even the government came. I never went to the government and said, I'm doing this, do this. They started coming to ask, can we have your solution? Then we will pay, I think that's one sector that people think is a solution. It's a problem. We need to create a solution. People must never be government dependent. Government must be people dependent, So yeah, we've got all those, and we've got institutions like in South Africa, now in the US, and remember through these partnerships as well, you start tapping into other partners. So there is a whole lot of partners. Me personally, I must say though, in terms of collaboration, I'm one guy, I'm a loner to start with. I've got my own way of doing things. I don't really have patience for people because I set up standards that are impossible sometimes. So I'll start things on my own, and I hated collaborations before. But as you grow, you can't grow on your own. When you grow, this is where you need other people, you need other companies, you need all these partnerships. That's what we talk about when we talk about scaling. So I've learned that as well, to collaborate and partner, be a good team player as a entrepreneur. But I'm still, like I said, I'm still a loner, man. I come up with my own ideas. I want to do things my own way. When they get there, only then I start collaborating with other people. And
Okay, and since you just mentioned now that you're a loner, what type of characteristics do you think a successful entrepreneur should have?
Ooh, yes.
Yes, and the ones that you have, perhaps.
Okay. There's a whole long list,
5.
Now, first of all, you need to be brave. Being brave, you say you want to collaborate with somebody, listen, get up and go knock on that door. Okay, be brave, wear your clothes, don't be afraid of anything. If there's a dog, you must find a way of, surpassing it to get to where you want to go. Very brave, that's number one. 2, you need to be very self-reliant. This is a DIY. It's not like you have a manager who's looking after you, you have somebody who's going to look after you to do things. It's DIY, do it yourself. You need to be very self-reliant, 3, very important, you need to be very disciplined. Because now when you are self-reliant, you can do things when you want and how you want. You need to formulate a disciplined thing. So you need to be very disciplined. There are a whole lot of them. I just want to mention the important ones. And 4, you need to be, you need to be a leader. It's a characteristic in itself. You need to be able to lead yourself to start with and lead other people, because if you are not a leader, you can't influence, and that's the word. You can't influence and convince people. And as an entrepreneur, whatever that you have, you need to influence people and convince them to buy whatever your solution that it is. So it's very important that you need to have leadership skills, but very important, I think you need to be very creative and innovative. Remember, I'm scientifically trained when I did my first studies, which is medicine. Now, that gives you a formula that you follow, and also you just follow that formula. Like, for example, when you go to theater, you wash your hands, right? You scrub. If they say you start this way, you can't start this way. You have to do things exactly. So you take the information, you need to know exactly what, and regurgitate it. In business, it gives you that freedom of being creative. So, applying your creativity, and this is where you need it. Like when things don't go according to your way, and they say this is how things are done, how do you get out of it? If you're not creative, you'll give up. But if you're creative, then you need to find ways on, okay, now how do I maneuver this without changing the goal, but changing the plan? So you apply a whole lot of creativity. You put other things that will still get you to your goal. And this is what you talk about when you talk about creativity. You become creativity, you become versatile in your head. And I think, those are the most important characteristics.
And lastly, you mentioned how mentorship is also important in your journey of entrepreneurship. Can you please name 3 mentors, your mentors?
My mentors.
or role models, if we'll call it that?
Well, they say if you want to be great, study great people. One of the people I studied is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it so happened I met him so many times, even in my presentation, when I refer to him, I put my pic with him, you know. So, and I think that's where the law of attraction, the unwavering faith came in, because I believe that I would meet him one day. I read his books, I studied how he did things. That's the first one. It's Robert Kiyosaki that I studied. You know what, funny enough, I've studied the spirit of Basetsana Mahalmela.
Okay.
Kumalo, man. You know, I know her even before. Yes, Basetsana. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's such an entrepreneur. I've also studied how she does things. And yeah, she's one of the people who have inspired me. But I think, you know, there are so many. Richard Branson as well. Now I'm talking about people, obviously, I mean, up there who are huge and stuff. But somebody will ask me, I mean, locally, who do you look up to? And I think there's a couple of people, and if you want to get mentors and stuff, for example, there's a guy called Quentin Eister. He was the chairman of Interstate Bus Line. You know, if you go to Windmill Casino, I know he owns half of it, you know, the bowling place and all that. That's one of the guys that I literally, for a couple of years, I shadowed him. I would go to him, I would call him. He'd literally come out of his house at night or knock off late so that I could sit with him, ask him questions, ask him, I got stuck here. And one of the things I remember he used to do, say, okay, so you're saying this. You'd write me a prescription. And he says, okay, you said you are stuck here. Here's a book by John C. Maxwell. Go buy it. Whatever you said, you are stuck at number 5. So go to this page, you'll find your answers there. And guess what? Now it's like I must go buy the books. So he taught me a lot of responsibility as well. He wasn't spoon-feeding me. I asked him questions, he would answer with questions, and then I could answer my questions. So yeah, with that being said, in every industry that I got into, I literally shadowed people. Even when I went into game farming, I remember the people I was getting the farm from or buying the farm from, I went to them, and it's old white couple, and I went to them, I said, you know what, for years, you don't go out yet. Can we, for 2 years, 18 months, can you then show me how this works? So I went to learn exactly to the people who've done it, not who read it, who have done it, who've got experience, knowledge, skill of doing it, and that's how I've been learning my whole life. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us. This will be the last season for this year. Hope to see you guys next year for season 2, KOVSIES Stories Before the Year 3000.